Hey guys, Chris here with AMT JOY, the AMT JOY project, and here with a preliminary or kind of beta look at the tool and how you can use it. And the goal, of course, is right on the homepage here to help you find your futures trading edge. So we've got a variety of tools here, so I'm going to go through each of them and discuss how they might be able to help you. So straight up, we are basically a historical tool. What we do is we've taken every single cash session and basically divided it into discrete ways of looking at that session, right? So whatever, May 1st, 2022. What was the trading range? What was the initial balance? Was it up? Was it down? What periods were up? What periods were down? All through this lens of auction market theory. So we primarily focus on half-hour candles. But again, this tool is beta. The long-term plan is to add 1-minute candle view to everything, 5-minute, 15, 10-minute, everything in between, and also even to add the EU session to look at it separately and the Asia session. So basically, yeah, of course, the long-term goal is to have a complete view and historical analysis of every futures session that basically has ever occurred. So right now our data does go back to I think 2022, but we're working on getting a full data set for each of the instruments and the markets to go back to basically their inception. So yeah, let's get started and look into all the ways you can use this tool. So I guess first off are the markets. Right now, this is what we've got so far. We've got the big four, I guess. Your ES, MES, NQ, MNQ. Right, so S&P and NASDAQ. And we also have the E-mini Dow and the micro. Got the Russell, we've got gold, we've got crude, we've got Bitcoin, and we've got Ether. Now, of course, overall, between the mini and the micro, there may be small discrepancies in the price, but overall, the only thing that's really going to make a difference is the volume numbers. That's probably the primary difference. But it just gives you that peace of mind. For example, I only trade MNQ, so when I'm here on AMT JOY, I'm only using MNQ. And so from there, we basically have links to each of our tools. So right now, and that'll save as soon as you pick one. That'll save in the local storage or your browser. And so I've been using it for MNQ, as I said, and that'll save. If you don't, and you just click any one of these, the default is ES. So what do we have? I guess I'll just go from left to right. And again, keep in mind, this is still in beta, active development. We're working on it every day. So first is Live Lab, which unfortunately isn't available yet. I'm still working on a bunch of kinks. Long-term goal there is, as every session develops, each half-hour period closes, it's going to give you hints or statistics on how the session could play out, references to previous sessions, and also anomalies, right? If we see a volume spike or if we see a price range spike that is 2 or 3 standard deviations, that's the goal here, and it'll ping you in live time. And currently, right now, we only offer through TD Ameritrade, so you would log in with your TD Ameritrade, and we use their live WebSocket to display the futures data. So the second tool is our Session Matcher, and this is the tool that I like using the most so far. So basically, as a session develops, or also you can use it for just research in general. But I like using it as a session develops. For example, before the session even opens, you can say usually, is there a gap up or down? Let's say there's a gap up. And then let's say, A period trend is up, and it starts matching sessions historically, and it'll tell you, the averages. So we have the percent change, you know, of overall of the session, right? The IB high, IB low, the high of day, and the low of day. And the same statistics, not in percent, but in actual, futures points of whatever you're trading, points. We've got the AMT session type, of course, the trend of the opening range, and the initial balance. And right now, I should also say the opening range for us is the AMT opening range, which is A period, so the first half hour of trading. I know a lot of people, as well as myself, use different opening ranges: 30-second, 1 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute, even. But for now, the OR on this tool is for A period, the first half hour of trading. We also have the close with respect to the IB, and then the gaps, and if the gaps are filled. Of course, doesn't apply if there's no gap. And yeah, we list all the matching sessions. And so there's two views, the matching sessions themselves, and then the session stats, which is usually an average, or there's like counts of across all the sessions. So it tells you how many they are, links to each of these, which are in the session lab, which I'll get to next. But then the averages, right? So, average session return of all, session return from Globex, anything and everything you can think of is all in here. Can help you think of setting up a trade, or if you're in a trade, think about statistically, how long should I hold on, or where could we go? And again, not financial advice. This is just historical analysis. That's all this tool provides so far. Right, so I mentioned the session lab, and links to these go to the session lab, and what the session lab is looking at these sessions in detail per session, right? So we have, it's Wednesday today, so the session hasn't completely finished, but this is, of course, yesterday's, was just uploaded. Got your chart, right? We even annotate times with the period letter, and then the TPO. And as far as we know, we're the only place that offers a TPO view of every session. Of course, you can find on TradingView and other platforms, you can find the chart of the sessions, but I think we're the only ones who have a library of these TPOs. Then we've got a big data table of everything, everything about the session, the OTF, monthly, weekly, daily, the open range high, IB high, high, mid, low, the trading range high, mid, low, really everything. We have the candlestick data in detail, and there's a bug with the Globex candlestick, but those should list those half-hour candlesticks. Right, so moving on to the session tree. This is kind of a different way of, it's kind of how you could use the session matcher, but in a tree view, right? So start off with all of our sessions since 2022. Then we say, okay, is there a gap up, gap down, no gap? What's the opening range trend, i.e. A period trend? What's the initial balance trend, right? Like is B period higher than A? Is B period within A, which is balance? Then you can go to the session matcher with whatever that trend is. So basically, by the time by B period closing, you can have a decent idea and pretty refined look. 16, 1, 2. These are small fractions of our total set of over 170 sessions, and you can get an idea of how the session or the day could play out based on this historical analysis. Then we've got our AMT GPT. This is also super beta. We're not training it on as much data as we need to yet, but we're working on it. So yeah, you could just say, give me the link to the session with the highest return. And it should reply, hopefully, with something that makes sense. That's the old link, actually. And this is also for ES only. But let's look, if we go to ES, what was that? The 30th of November. If we go to the session lab here. And I'm going to go... Let's see if this loads at all. Like I said, this GPT is not super good yet. Okay, so something's up. But maybe so yeah, we're still working on this, but maybe your luck will be different depending on what you ask it. The goal, of course, is to have it reliably answer every question correctly. So it's something, it's an open area of research. Okay, we've also got the Candle Lab, and this looks at whatever instrument you're on. It's going to give you the average rotations and also the standard deviation of those rotations across variety of rotations, and also we do filter by period, right? So we've got your 1 day rotations, average, 1 standard deviation, 2 standard deviation, the 30-minute, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and so on. So for example, the 1 minute rotations on average are down, which is interesting. Maybe that means we're heading into a downtrend. So there's a lot more we're gonna do with this. And we also do by AMT period, right? L period, E period, F period, G period, so on. So still need to do more work here, but it's kind of an introduction into what we have planned for this Candle Lab. Now we have the Bayes Lab, and the Bayes Lab is, you could think of as kind of a different way of approaching the session matcher. So maybe you're looking for specific statistics, right? So let's go to this, like back to this gap idea, right? Like if, let's see if I can find it here, right? So if gap is up, okay, 45 of 170 sessions, 26%. Then let's say I want to know the probability of A period being up, right? So I would go to here, A period trend, and being up. Let's see. It's calculating, is 51%. So right there, you already have, technically you have an edge, right? That's historically 51% chance. You might want to think about longing A period on a gap up, right? So, and then of course we have the same, this is the same table as in the session matcher. We have the table and also the averages of all those matching stats. So maybe I say, okay, I'm going to assume this slightly above 50% is an edge, but then what's the continuation in B period? You could look for all these matching sessions with, let's see, count of sessions with B period up as well. That's also 51%. So it's quite interesting, right? And really, you can spend, I know I have, you can spend hours, playing around with scenarios and probabilities, and also, looking then at each of the sessions in detail. And that's of course what the site's all about, right? It's the joy of the auction, AMT JOY. So I invite you to play around with the Bayes Lab. I think it's a super powerful tool. So the opening range lab, that's still in progress. It'll be a lot like the Candle Lab. So we're going to take all of the opening ranges across different opening range timeframes, whatever the 1 minute, the 2 minute, the 3 minute, or even the 30-minute opening range, and we'll show you over time, has a certain range, let's say past 1 day, past 5 days, past 20 days, has a certain opening range strategy worked better than others? What were the stops that you would have needed? How choppy was it, or how many times did we re-enter the opening range? Things like that. So that's also coming soon. We also have the Risk Lab, and this just has a large variety of risk-related statistics and numbers. The main one is this chart here. You can play with your risk value. So no matter what your account size, you can go from 1 to, I don't know, $10,000 here. Your win rate, which you could find, after collecting data on trades, and most brokers and futures providers provide this data, and also risk reward depending on your historical trades, and then you can add the number of trades, right? So your base expected value is this yellow line, and then it'll show you, hey, if you did worse, 10% worse win rate, this is your expected value after this many trades, right? So let's say, I know for my own statistics right now, let's say in a month I take 60 trades, right? Risk 100, yeah, that's about right. Could be a little bit higher, but I know my win rate is only like something like 30%, right? But I also know that my risk reward on average is about 3. So let's see what my expected value would be, right? And this base expected value will turn green, after if you're positive over time, and it'll turn red if you're negative over time. So let's say about 60 trades. It's about a month of trading for me. It's about 1,200. So actually, I'm a little bit higher than that right now. So maybe I have to review my data. Maybe my win rate is higher, or my risk reward is slightly higher. But this gives me a good view. Even if I was 5% less win rate, or 10%, I'd still technically be just above break even. So you can play with this to kind of forecast what your expected account value over time is against number of trades. We also quickly mentioned the break-even risk management strategy. So depending on your win rate and your risk reward ratio for trades, or what is needed for break even, right? So, and we mentioned that for us is super important. It doesn't matter what your account size is, how much you're risking, or any of that. The actual dollar amount doesn't matter to being a profitable trader. The only thing that matters, are these two numbers: your win rate, how often are you, hitting the target, and the risk to reward ratio for those trades, right? Now, of course, that becomes its whole other complex statistical thing, because if you're going for 9-to-1 trades, you're probably not going to even have a 10% win rate, right? So we recommend people start looking, kind of in the middle, right? Probably below 50%, but then you should be hitting, or trying to hit, at least 2 to 3 risk to reward, right? We got a table here with skill or luck. This one I've been using recently. I've been on a really hot win streak, and this just mentions or displays the all else equal probability. Basically, if you were flipping a coin, right, of having a green day, 50-50% chance with no outside influence. But of course, the trader is the outside influence, and if you start getting up towards 5, 6, 7 day win streaks, well, that's less than a 1% chance of happening statistically if it was totally random. So then you can probably assume, if you get up to these kind of win streaks, you've probably found your edge and you're doing something right. Then we list Apex challenge info, the actual risk that you should be doing. And just a hint, it's nowhere near the max size. It's way, 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 way less. You can even see our calculations when I'm on ES here. You're not even supposed to trade a single contract of ES until you get to the big, not even on the big one. It's too much leverage. So if I switch, let me switch here to MES, and it will show you if I go to the risk lab for MES. That's the candle lab, okay. If I go to the risk lab here, then we get some numbers, right? So if you're using a 10-point stop, you can trade one. A 5-point stop, it's okay. Somewhere in between, you know, you shouldn't trade more than 1 or 2 MES contracts, right? And yeah, it's kind of conservative, but and it'll take you, you know, more days, trading 3 to 1, 3 weeks, you know, 2 to 3 weeks. But, you know, when you have only a trailing drawdown, that's actually what your real account size is. And so we, you know, we kind of list everything here for all the instruments. You can check that out. So we've got our blog that'll just link to our Substack. We've got a glossary, which probably also needs updating or improvements. And then, yeah, the pricing is also, you don't need to worry about that. This is totally open beta right now. But yeah, if you're interested, you have ideas, you know, feature requests, anything like that, or if you just want to be a member, if you are a member, if you log in, you'll get you get the ability to change all these colors. So that's fun. You can change the if I go to the session lab here, you can define all the colors of what's on the charts. So the up candles, the down candles, the neutral color, right? So you can see it's the green, the pinkish, and the yellow. I'm not sure why this isn't. Let's go to the first. Or maybe I'll have to switch to MNQ. Here we go. So yeah, you can define all these colors. Also the opening range color. Right now it's light blue. The initial balance is orange. High of day is this bright green. Low of day is bright red. V up, all those colors you can define if you log in. Okay, so that was an initial review, initial look into all the tools and functionalities we have on the platform. I know it was a lot, but I think as you use the platform and look at the tools, you'll find the tool that you like the most or best fits your trading style. And as I mentioned, if you're interested, you have some ideas on what could be better or what we could change or add or anything like that, totally open for your ideas, and just send us an email. We have a contact form you can in the bottom here, a request form, support. All right. And also I should mention, expect some videos. I'll probably make another video right after this one about something quite interesting that happened, not today, but yesterday, September 5th session, and how I used this tool to get some nice longs on the day. Cool. All right. Well, that is the review of the platform so far. Hope you enjoy. Hope you check it out. And take care, everyone. I will catch you all next time.